All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakal Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch. As you can see, this is going to be another in transit video. Lord willing, it be edifying unto you brothers out there and few sisters listening and also learning. Okay, now this is not going to be too much of a long video. I just want to speak upon this recent act that was passed in Babylon the Great, which is indeed America, according to the Holy Scriptures. And this act basically, in a nutshell, moves us one step closer, as we always say, to the manifestation of the RFID chip, all right, which is the mark of the beast, spoken of in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16 on down. Okay, that mark is one step closer to being manifested upon the earth. And this is why, it's so important to watch, as Yahweh Shai said, watch as well as pray, because we are watchmen and we survey, these bills, these policies and, these acts that are being passed, because, we are measuring the time, as pursuant to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, man. So it's very important, to keep your eyes peeled in regards to what the left-hand side is doing, especially in these last days, because we know that they're looking forward to bringing about this technology, because it's biblical prophecy, man. Okay? This is biblical prophecy. The manifestation of the Motb being made mandatory in society is biblical prophecy. That's something that is going to happen. Okay? Before this kingdom gets totally thrown down and devoured through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that mark, all right, has to be made manifest upon the earth. Okay? It has to be in fruition. Okay? People are going to be getting chipped in these last days. All right? That's what John the Revelator seen on the Isle of Patmos. He's seen in the vision, he's seen people being chipped, people queuing up and receiving that mark within themselves, man. Okay, so that's gonna happen. Now you have this, I believe it's called the Genius Act, okay, which they're basically making way for these stable coins, as they call them, digital currency, to be totally legitimized, man. Okay, they're making way for these coins, digital currency, to be legitimized and to become, a legal part of the currency system. Okay, so we're already there. We're already at that point, right, where this technology is being pushed, and the systems to allow that technology to thrive and to operate in society have already been built. We're already at that stage, man. Okay, we are already at that stage. And the scriptures talk about, I believe it's in the book of Psalms, talks about, the throne of iniquity frameth mischief, by a law. Okay, and that's exactly what the wicked are doing. They're framing mischief, by a law, by these policies, by these bills, by these acts that they bring into play. While you're distracted with other things, with other, content of folly, in the world, behind the scenes, in the background, they're actually, bringing into law particular things that's going to push this new world order system. Okay? But the hope for the elect, you know, we see these things. We see what the wicked is doing. We see how he's legitimizing, you know, these processes and putting these policies in place in order to forward the New World Order system, man. But again, we are happy, all right? Because this is biblical prophecy coming to pass. Okay? This is indeed biblical prophecy coming to pass. And these are the necessary evils that we need to be instated in society to bring about the downfall of Edom's kingdom. Now, in his mind, you know, he's thinking that in getting this done, that's going to further his rulership. All right, that's going to extend his time and his rulership upon the earth. But that's not the case. And as the scriptures tell us, you know, within themselves, they should think that their houses shall continue forever. All right, but that's not the case. That's not going to happen. That's a vain imagination of the heathen. Okay, because their kingdom is not going to, you know, continue on forever. Their kingdom has an expiry date. Okay, their kingdom has a point where Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to completely annihilate them, man. Okay. Their time, you know, is but for a moment. You know, in Revelation, it talks about a little season. All right, they're currently in that little season right now. And it tells us in the book of Job that the Lord has set bounds that they cannot pass. So there's a point, there's a threshold that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has capped the rulership of Edom. Okay? And we're approaching that threshold right now. That's why these things are transpiring upon the earth, because he is nearing that threshold, all right, that the Lord has set, where his kingdom is going to start tumbling down. As the scriptures tell us, you know, as lightning, so Satan fall, man. That's talking about Edom, beginning with the wicked elites. They're going to fall as lightning, as quick as lightning in these last days, man. Okay? When it reaches that point, when Yahweh Shem Yahushai is ready to completely pull the plug on his kingdom, you're going to see how quickly this man's going to fall, man. Okay? But again, I'll say it again, we're at the point where we are one step closer to the manifestation of the Motb, man. All right, like Elder Apostle always says, one step closer. All right, we are closer than we are today. All right, than we was yesterday and last week and last month to the manifestation of the Motb, man. Okay, and that's positive thinking. You know, that's how we have to think, especially in these last days, man. There's a lot of great things happening concerning biblical prophecy, man. So we need to thank Yahweh Shem Yahushai B'Hashem Kodash, because things are moving. All right, things are moving swiftly through the spirit, man. All right. And with that, I will say shalom.